Hi friends, I'm Supriya Kasar and welcome back to All About UX Writing. Today we are going to see how to create a UX writing case study, and I'm going to share some tips with you in the second half. So be with me. Whether you are a seasoned UX writer or just starting out, case studies are a fantastic way to showcase your skills, knowledge, and thought process. Before we jump into the process, let's understand what a UX writing case study is. It is a story of a project that you worked on, highlighting the problem statement, the challenges that you faced, or the process that you followed while working on it, how you arrived at the solution, the rationale behind your content decisions, how the content solve users' problems, and what was the impact of your content solution on the business and the product and the users. Now let's move on to the steps of creating a UX writing case study. First step is choosing the right project. Whether you are an aspiring UX writer or an experienced one, the first important step is choosing the right project. Pick a project that showcases your skills and impact of UX writing. If you are an experienced UX writer, you can create case studies on the projects that you have worked on. And if you have just started or you are an aspiring UX writer, what you can do is you can redesign the content of any existing product. Pick any user flow like onboarding flow, or improve the error messages, or redesign the content for conversational UI for a chatbot. I'm just suggesting a few. You can pick any user flow of any product and redesign the content of that and create a case study out of that. Next step is create the anatomy of a case study. The anatomy or structure of a case study goes like this. First, problem statement. Clearly define the problem statement. Explain why it was a problem and how it affected the user experience. Next is research and analysis. Describe your research process and which user research methods you followed, and highlight the insights that you gained from this research phase. Next is empathy mapping. Create an empathy map showcasing users' feelings, emotions, thoughts, actions, and statements to deeply understand users' problems, pain points, and their behavior. Next is create a user persona, identify all use cases, and create user flow accordingly. Make sure your case study flows like a story. Use your storytelling skills here. Next, explain the challenges that you encountered while working on the project and coming up with the solution, like time crunch, or if there was less real estate, if there was a huge message to convey in just few words, etc. Next is solution. Explain how you arrived at the solution. Walk through the UX writing principles or strategies that you implemented, such as implementation of 5 C's in UX writing while creating the microcopy, or maintaining the consistent tone throughout, etc. Next is implementation. Show your solution in action. Use screenshots, videos, or interactive prototypes to demonstrate how your UX writing was integrated into the user interface. Next is rationale. Explain the logic or rationale behind the microcopy you have suggested. This adds depth to your case study and gives insights into your decision making. Next is impact. This is the highlight of your case study. Explain how the content solved user problems, how it improved the user experience, and how positively it impacted the business. Share data-based results like how conversion rates were increased, how error rates were decreased, or how customer calls were reduced, how user friction and frustration was reduced, etc. Use graphs or charts if required to showcase the impact. Time for the tips. Tip 1. Keep it concise. While detail is crucial, avoid overwhelming your audience with excessive information. Tip 2. Use storytelling. Create a story out of your project that engages your audience and resonates with them. Tip 3. Quantify results. Use numbers to showcase the impact of your work because stats is important. Tip 4. Use visuals strategically. Use images or diagrams, but make sure they enhance your narrative and not replace it. So these were the tips. I hope you find this helpful. So let's see an example of a case study, guys. So this is a case study of a Sprinto staff listing page, which I worked on. Sprinto, if you know, is a compliance audit software. So the project overview I have mentioned here is that redesign the content of staff listing page for Sprinto. So category, it is compliance software. Now, how the case study starts is it starts with target audience. So here the target audience is HR admin. Then comes the problem statement, which I have mentioned here in just one line, that the page was content heavy with difficult to understand and unorganized content. There was complicated transition to the next screen, leading to the cognitive load for users. Then comes objectives. Here, there are a couple of objectives: to redesign the content for better user experience, to create content summarizing the training status for employees, to take proper action, to create content conveying the user if training report is added or not. So basically, it is all about content. Then comes the solution. So what solution was given based on the problem and the objectives was to redesign the content for staff listing page and organize the content hierarchy properly. So then comes the process. How it starts is it starts with research and analysis. So I studied some competitors that I have mentioned here. Then I studied the target users and their behaviors. Also studied the staff listing page of competitors and non-competitors to know the best practices. You can explain what were the findings, and if you have time you can also add the research findings here, but because I didn't have much time to add, I just kept it short. Then comes user persona and empathy mapping. So my user was HR manager, and this is how I created the empathy map, like what he says, what he thinks, what he does, and what he feels. So whatever his feelings, his emotions, then his thoughts and his actions were there, I have demonstrated in this empathy map. So this helped me to write the content for this target user. Then I highlighted the content issues in the current screen with rationale behind it. So I'm not going through all the content, but I'll just explain you like how I did it. For example, here the content was offboarded staff, which is very difficult to understand for users. Whereas what it means is inactive staff. It is clear. Because here, if you are saying active staff and then offboarded staff, it creates some confusion. Active and inactive staff is clear to understand. So I have explained the rationale here that any staff member who has left permanently or is temporarily unavailable is inactive staff, not offboarded staff, right? So similarly for other content pieces, I've added the rationale. Then what is the impact of this improvised content? This content, it guided users through the page seamlessly, thereby reducing user frustration. And also it reduces users cognitive load and confusion, right? If you have statistics of the impact, like there is a business impact, there was more customers were staying on your page, there was more customer retention, or anything that can be explained in numbers, it is always good to add. But because I didn't add it. Then at the end, I have added the proposed content with the wireframes. Because you're not designer, you're not expected to create perfect designs, but at least you can showcase it in this way so that, all the stakeholders are able to perceive your content. They understand how the content is being presented in the user interface. So this is how I added the screens at the last to make them understand. And that's all. So this is how you can present your case study. That was it, guys. I hope this video will help you to create case studies and build a strong portfolio. Thank you for joining me today. And if you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more insightful content. Till next time, bye-bye. Happy writing.